And it took us a long time. She was 9 before she was diagnosed. So I think as early as 3 is when I was sort of like, you've got some stuff that sort of makes me think you're sitting somewhere on the spectrum. But for Evelyn, it came out a lot like anxiety. So she was certainly having like some emotional regulation challenges, more so than most 3 and 4-year-old peers. But it really was looking like anxiety. She was rigid. She had challenges when we would
a dry noodle.
Yeah, that's the analogy that we use, huh? That like a noodle that is like too rigid because it's not cooked, it will break, huh? Yeah, so you have to be flexible sometimes. But you had trouble with that even from little ages. But I really was like, oh, it's the anxiety stuff that seems bigger to me. It's like the more forward part of all of this. So we pursued things to try to see if we could help her develop some coping skills around that. Different types of like play-based, and then later on talk therapy and counseling, and just trying to help see. You also have to think about the timing of all this. She was 5 when the pandemic happened. So then I was like, well, every kid is dealing with anxiety. We're all dealing with anxiety. So we really struggled through the pandemic. All of our routines were gone, but I sort of thought to myself, like, I can't see what's happening in the midst of this really weird circumstance. Following that, Evelyn had a brain injury from slipping and falling and hitting her head. And so
the bathtub.
Then we were sort of like, well, okay, we still think this is in the background, but like these other things are a lot more pressing. So it wasn't until she was 9 that we really actively started pursuing an autism evaluation. And then the challenge in my mind was, I was like, how do I find a community provider who understands autism in girls, especially girls who have, like an average or higher intelligence? Like, not everybody is equipped for that type of diagnosis. And especially when we knew at that time also we suspected ADHD and anxiety were in the equation. And so it's like, well, who can really like actually kind of help us parse this out and understand all of this? So
I liked the person we did.
We found the best person, huh? It ended up being wonderful. But it was challenging, and it was frustrating, and, dealing with insurance who didn't end up paying for the evaluation at all. And all of those sorts of things were just really a complicated part. What's cool about that process, I think, though, was we got to talk about autism and neurodiversity for years before you had a diagnosis.